Thanks for coming. This has been hundreds of years in the making. Say his name.
We're at a weird sort of in-between stage of lockdown at the minute. I'm still in the West Country, but there's a lot of anxiety rattling around about a rise in our number, and lockdown's still sort of in place. The rest of the team are in London, sort of emerging into the world. We decided to make a film about Newham about 3 or 4 weeks ago, mostly because it had registered one of the highest death rates for COVID-19 in the country. In the meantime, what's happened is the arrival of this huge uprising about racism.
A change needs to happen.
As we've been sort of moving through making this film over the past fortnight or so, the two things really feel like they've joined together.
It's been quite overwhelming. The whole situation is escalated. We're in a pandemic. Black people have been dying disproportionately. I mean, racism, you know, is ingrained in the system. It feels good that we might be potentially at a turning point.
I want to see the fists higher. Yes. Yes. And remember, your camera is your best weapon. If you see it and it doesn't look right, film it.
This has been an amazing series to work on. People around Britain have used their camera phones to show us how people and places have been coming together to fill gaps left by the government. This stall in East London is that kind of thinking in action. The people who run it are collecting information about black and ethnic minority people's experience of COVID-19. They're also handing out face masks.
Experience tells us, and particularly within the black community, that we can't be wholly dependent on government to take up our causes.
Seen from a distance through the video footage we've been capturing and receiving, London is in the midst of a remarkable moment. Many people have found a voice and have hope that things will change. But this is also a time of danger and rising fragility in many people's everyday lives. This is the food bank run by the Bonnie Downs Community Association in Newham, which provides people with a lot more than canned food and pasta.
Hello, darling.
Its use by local people has gone through the roof since the outbreak began.
Pray for me and my children.
The families that we're meeting are families that are telling us about this condition called no recourse to public funds. It's supposed to be temporary, but we speak to families where this has been 5 years, 8 years.
Absolute Radio.
Maroof is one of many people in Newham who has what's known as no recourse to public funds. Because of immigration rules, even in the midst of this crisis, he and his family are barred from any access to benefits.
Yeah, I took a son for my son. Maybe he will be like that, but before he liked this one, for I don't have any idea the people help food, something like that, because we have never been struggling this country. Like this?
Yeah. With me still at home, I spoke to Maroof and his wife Taznova on a video call.
Yeah.
Hi Maroof, how are you?
Hi, yeah, good, thank you.
How has life changed since the COVID outbreak began, since 10 weeks ago?
Very bad situation at the moment.
Because our friend cannot help us at this moment. Like our friends also in difficulty because they cannot go for work at this moment, who has the work permit.
So COVID-19 has hit you in two very serious ways. First of all, it stopped people being able to help you and so on. And then secondly, it's delayed your case.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are really under pressure. 4 people, we live in one room.
Yeah.
Oh, no, hold on. You didn't tell me that. Can you just turn the phone round and just give me a sense of your environment?
Yeah.
This is so messy at this moment, actually.
That was my house. It's okay.
So messy because as one room we are living, so
This is my little one. Hello.
Hello. So your son who's 6, how's he?
He's like so much mentally depressed. He's shouting. He throw lots of things. He broke something, you understand? He also depressed, I think. Before, like, he was not like that. If he tells him something, like he don't answer. He didn't eat
like
properly.
Little bit aggressive now.
You aggressive now, you understand?
Baba. Eat, please. Please. Baba. Baba.
The Home Office releases no figures for the number of people with no recourse to public funds, but there could be up to 1 million of them. Newham has a high number of these people, which which is one reason it's been so badly affected by COVID-19. At the end of the Docklands Light Railway in Beckton, another food project's being run out of a front yard.
Oh my God.
How common is that? How many people do you know who are having that experience?
A lot.
Yeah, I think the system is broken. How many times people go with a good plan, with a good proposal, and they let them down? How many people have good idea in their hand and they have the capacity of doing something good? My big boy wanted to go to university. He applied. He went for interview at University of East London. They let him down, right? He can't get student finance because he doesn't have indefinite leave to remain.
And when did he arrive here?
He was young, 10.
I actually wanted to go and study film and television. I done everything in college and everything. I achieved my grades and that, but I didn't get the opportunity to actually take it to the next level.
How do you feel about that?
I feel the way I feel, innit? Like camera is powerful. Like doing things like documentaries and stuff is powerful. You know. I done the documentary about stop and search. You know how the police do Section 60, stop and search and all of that.
Really?
Yeah, I done a little documentary about that. I put on YouTube and that. But
and what are you doing for work?
What am I doing? I was working for Tesco and I was a supervisor in Tesco.
Do you know what you want to be when you grow up?
A lawyer.
A lawyer? It's a good job. You've got to study hard at school.
Yeah.
One place anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, Rascal Road.
We want justice! We want justice! We want justice! We want justice! We want justice!
There is this sense of somehow everything being laid bare. One of those obviously is structural racism. You know, matters of inequality, huge economic gaps between people and places, right? All of that, it seems to me, is sort of stark.
And it keeps coming back to food.
Well, isn't that a proof of the starkness? That the most basic aspect of staying alive is something everybody's talking about.
Even with food, though, people have had enough, right? Haven't they? They've had enough of it being basic.
Okay. Hello, my name. So, cool. Hello, my name's Ryan. I'm from Concord. I'm a young boy, and a lot of arse.
Bro, it's okay. It's okay. Go
This project is run by the Concord Youth Club on the Kingsmead Estate in Hackney. And young people have been doing a lot of the work, including filming it for Instagram.
Today I learned to make moi moi, I think. It's a West African dish.
But what does the food itself, in the fact that it's not pasta and tins of beans, what does that represent, do you think?
Why should they not have it? Why should people not be able to have quality, good food to eat? It's treating everybody the same. It's not about being deprived or being needy. It's that we all connect and we all need support in different ways. So even the people that are cooking the food are getting a sense of something from it. It's just a complete support circle.
The youth club is a central part of many young people's lives, but was forced to close during lockdown. Joycelyn set the food project up as a way of engaging some of them again.
You're gonna have to go back. No, there's one that's not really on the list, but I was just gonna add them, but we can do it. So who have you got?
This has been a really challenging time for them, and that is a question I'm being asked by them a lot. When are we opening back up again? I was really concerned about mentally what this is doing for young people, and knowing what Concord meant to them so much, and that basically being ripped away.
Let's say, yeah, what's so good about living in Meath? What's your favourite thing in Kingsmead? Chicken shop.
It's giving them so much. For a lot of them, they've been looking at themselves and reflecting in their roles in terms of what they've been doing, and it's really made the community look at them in a different way.
Concord, isn't it? Yeah. And there's a studio here, and then when you come here, like there's no one to impress.
I definitely miss it. Definitely miss it, man. Because everybody in Concord is like a family there. Yeah.
Compared to where we were 12 weeks ago, how has your life changed?
Recently, I guess it's kind of getting back to normal a little bit, but from when the beginning of the 12 weeks, it changed completely. I wasn't allowed to go out. I wasn't allowed to do what I love doing, and that's filmmaking. I wasn't getting any acting calls, so everything literally, my life felt like it just turned off.
And then in the midst of all that, along comes Black Lives Matter and this big uprising against racism, right?
Yeah. I went on the protest myself, and it was a nice feeling to be there, to be in a like an environment where everybody was on the same kind of mindset and energy.
What's it all about for you? What's it all about?
I personally think, for me, I think it's just about unification.
If I said you could go back 12 weeks when none of this had happened, would you take it?
Nah, I wouldn't, you know. I'm a strong believer in everything happens for a reason, and your life is planned out the way it's meant to be planned out. So I wouldn't really want to go back and change anything, because if I go back and change anything, I might not be the person who I'm going to be.
So it's not jumping back to the old world and the old normal. It's about a new normal of hope.
The Mayor of Newham, Roxana Fiaz, set up a Zoom call with young people from Newham in the wake of George Floyd's death to talk about how they feel about the current Black Lives Matter moment.
You young people on this Zoom chat, you are intelligent, you are bright, you're innovative, you're entrepreneurial, you're energetic.
One of the people on the call was Lily, who works with Newham's Youth Empowerment Service. She's 14, she's involved in youth theatre, and she hopes to be an actor.
I have a really strong passion for acting. Like, in the future, I want to become an actress. Scarlett Johansson is really great. And Tom Hiddleston, big shout out to him. He's amazing.
Isn't Tom Hiddleston the fella who went out with Taylor Swift for 2 weeks? Yes.
Oh, gosh. Oh Lord. Oh, no. I was hoping to enroll when I was 18 at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. And it's a really hard school to get into. And right now, I'm getting involved in the 2021 summer project at the Youth National Theatre, and I feel like that's going to help me to reach where I want to go.
And has that has been affected by the COVID thing? I would imagine.
Yeah, it has.
Why it's kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Mercedes Akdemi and I'm 17 years old.
Mercedes is part of the same youth project as Lily.
How has it been for you having school suspended and not being at school?
That part has been really difficult because I have a visual impairment. It's really difficult not having my support workers near me. Like sometimes I need work read to me or I need something a little bit more explained.
Has anything of that kind sort of been provided in some way?
Yes, my schools, they still provide me with large print work. So when they send me the work, it's in large font. And I have a checkup every 2 weeks or so with my support workers.
But it's not the same, clearly.
But no, it's not the same.
And how do you feel about that? I mean, I don't want to ask you sort of loaded questions here, but you're kind of losing out on education here. That it must feel like.
Yeah, it's like a tedious, frustrating feeling. I want to be in the classroom. I want to be raising my hand, asking the teacher of the million questions that are in my head, but I can't.
I feel that I'm missing a whole year of learning. That's going to affect me more in the future because a whole year could have changed everything.
Me being a teenager, I'm thinking, well, I'm really safe. Let me just go outside for a little bit. But then around 3 weeks ago, a good friend of my mum's actually passed away of the COVID. So that was a real wake-up call for like everybody that I know. Everyone started staying indoors.
If I gave you the chance to go back 12 weeks and just resume the world as it was 12 weeks ago, would you take it?
No, I wouldn't.
Haha, go on, tell me why.
Because a lot has happened in the past few weeks that we need to remember. Because that death of George Floyd, it was completely unnecessary. It could have been prevented, and like future people need to know that. We need to acknowledge that this world is crazy and this world really needs to change its act, because if it doesn't, then we're all gonna get hurt in the end. So I feel like these past 12 weeks and stuff, it's been a real learning curve for everybody. Everybody's gained something. Some people may have lost something, but I think everybody's gained. So I think this is definitely a time to remember, because I've been telling my brothers that we're literally living through history, and history is never forgotten.
48 hours, Marcus Rashford forced the government to extend free school meals for English children.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. The Prime Minister
talked to Daniel Rashford. He considered
this a powerful image.
And the players are already taking the knee.
When we started making these films at the end of March, when the lockdown started, if you told me that in 12 weeks' time we would talk to lots of people who said that notwithstanding all the dreadful things that have happened and the crisis we're still in the midst of, they didn't want to go back 12 weeks. Because at least everything now was being contested. Everything was out in the open. And we were sort of on the brink, perhaps, of having a sort of honest conversation about who we all are and where we're going. I don't think I'd have believed that.
It's like there's no way back, is there?
That's a good way of putting it.
There is no way back to the world of 12 weeks ago.
Forget it. Let's get on with it.